There, and welcome to my new channel called Dan Builds. In this series of videos, we're going to cover the building of my Daytona Coupe kit car. It's a UK kit from a company called Dax, and they've only built about 4 of them, and this is car number 2. So if you know about the Daytona Coupes, there was 6 of them built back in the 60s, 1 in the States and 5 in Italy. The last one that sold was CSX 2601, and it went for $7.25 million at Pebble Beach. So this is a lot less than that. So anyway, let's get to the car. So I've had the kit for just over a year, so I'm already a little bit into the build. And what I'll do now is I'll briefly get you up to speed on where I've got to, what's in the car already, and then we'll move forward with the videos I produce as I continue with the kit. You'll see behind me that we're running a Ford 302 small block. It's actually stroked to 331. It's attached to a TKO 600, and the drive shaft and running gear is from a Jag design, much like all Dax Cobras are. We'll have a bit more of a detailed look on the engine bay next. Okay, so I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the actual car as it stands at the moment. So you'll see the radiator is at that position in the front of that quite severe angle that allows the bonnet to pivot over and the air to come up through the front and up that way, which is the Daytona. This is the Daytona style. I knocked up all the aluminium panelling myself. Obviously the small box sitting right there in the middle. You have the battery position over there, windscreen wiper motor. You have the heat radiator pipes through the bulkhead there. You have the fuel pressure regulator and the gauge. You have the second inline fuel filter, reservoirs for the pedal box, the clutch cylinder, the servo for the brakes. This obviously is a right-hand drive car, so the pedals are on the right-hand side. The headers have recently been built by a friend of mine. They're not fitted yet, they're just roughly in place. I'm making up some gaskets very shortly for attachment to the head, and the side pipes will pass through the hole to the side pipes, which are just roughly in place. I need to actually drop those down so I can line the pipes up properly. There's no expansion tank, it's just the filler cap is in the top radiator hose. The horns are tucked down under there. We've got manual steering rack underneath there, which actually goes to a Vauxhall Corsa B electric power steering unit, which is quite popular in the kit cars. It'll obviously be a heavy car to turn around, and that's with my Cobra. I fitted a power steering unit because it was just too much work to get it into tight spaces, which is, there's a lot of those where I live. Okay, and then we'll move on to the interior. Okay, so a quick look at the interior then from here. So this is just a one-piece aluminium dash. The steering console cover are knocked up just to keep the indicators and the wiper stalk covered to make it a little bit cleaner. Some gauges are fitted in there. I think they're quite smart. All the aluminium you see in the cockpit and in the boot area will all be powder coated black, a matte black finish. So I hope it looks nice, a bit more like the originals once it's done. All the operational switches and warning lights are down there. They're actually at the back in all the mix of wiring, so I just have had the panel off recently. Handbrake, pedal boxes up underneath there. I'm still working out how I'm doing the throttle cable, so that's why there's a cable there. Doors are not on yet, the hinges are in this side, not the other side. That's the Dax chassis seat running structure. This I had a couple of seats that I've made myself and just had them come back from upholstery. So yeah, that's just put in there at the moment to see actually how it looks. It's not on any seat runners. I like the style. It's kind of the original sort of looks of the cars. Obviously they had low back seats, and for IVA we can't do that nowadays. Yeah, and then through into the boot area, which is very simple and basic. I've got a little bit of an access panel there for the sender unit for the fuel tank underneath. Tops of the strut towers the back of the car. Wasn't the original design, and it wasn't originally what was delivered from Dax, but they had to take the chassis back and make an amendment. So now I have those to cover up in the boot area. And the built-in roll cage, which actually, you see that this is the rear glass hinge that hangs off of that on that side as well. So yeah, it's a factory 5 generation 3 body from what I can work out, having done some measurements and looked at the way the glass, the shape is the rear glass. And yeah, the second set of side pipes is here, ready to go back on, so I can do the headers on the left hand side. And currently it's only sitting on Jaguar space over wheels. All the running gear is all Jaguar new, but the diff is a reconditioned diff. Everything else is just Jag gear, and it's the outboard brakes at the rear, as you see, Jag brakes at the front there. Okay, and that's where I'm at so far. That's just over a year's worth of building. A lot of what's been done is hidden underneath because of the whole rolling chassis, the drivetrains in, the aluminium bodywork or the interior work on the panelling. There was nothing supplied with the kit. There was no facility for anything to be supplied, so I've had to make all that myself. So there's been a lot of cardboard and paper and templates and bending and cutting aluminium. So I'm quite happy with where I'm at so far. There's a lot more to do. It's not factory finish, but I've got quite a lot of leeway in how I finish the car because I'm sure some of you are aware there was only over 6 of these that were originally made back in the 60s. Actually a very good program on Netflix currently called Shelby Daytona Coupe, where it actually goes over the production of these cars and how they had to rebody an existing chassis from a Cobra for the races. So yeah, have a look at that if you haven't seen it. So yeah, the few things I'm going to get on with shortly, which will be the next series of videos, because I want to try and now cover everything I'm doing on a video. I'm not sure how quickly I'll release them and whether this video will contain extra work as well, or this will come out first, just introducing you to the car if anyone's interested, and then there'll be continuing videos after that. But what I do need to do for the headers, I've started making up some small gaskets, and I'll make a video on how I've made these. I've yet to cut out the hole in the middle for the headers, so I can put those onto the block once and for all. I need to put some heat protection, which I've got here, for all the cabling that runs around the engine bay where the exhaust headers will be, because I don't want to melt through anything necessary up there, or anything at all. Then I will be doing another job I need to do soon as well, which I'll make a video on, is like kind of commissioning the fuel system. So the tank that came with the car is in the back underneath the boot here. You've got the fuel pump just forward of the tank, and the first fuel filter is just forward of the tank. I've got a fuel line then runs down the chassis, underneath the bonnet, and it goes to the second fuel filter, which is a finer fuel filter, then to the fuel pressure regulator. Then there's a return line back down into the tank. All the lines are PTFE lines, stainless steel braided with AN fitting ends on it. Makes it nice and clean, and it makes it very easy to then take lines off and drain tanks and all the things that I found with my Cobra that it wasn't done that way. So yeah, what I need to do now, because I've cut the lines and there's going to be bits of crap from the cutting that's going to go into the lines. The tank may well have picked up some crap over since it's been created. Certainly it was in the workshop for several months before it went in the car. So I'd like to put some fuel in. I've blown it through best I could when I was building it. I'll put some fuel in and run it through, straight through into a bucket out in the filters, check all the filters, and then that'll be then ready to connect up once and for all to the carb. It's all leading towards the first start up of the engine, which it hasn't happened yet. I've had it now for several months. I'm itching to start it, but I obviously need to get everything in line first. So the exhausts, the headers had to be custom made. They were holding me up for quite some time. So now they're here, fuel system, heat protecting the electrics that I mentioned earlier. And that's pretty much ready for the first start. I've got the oil, the water system, cooling system's ready to be filled. I will do all this and then do the full prime procedure for the engine. As soon as I can, there'll definitely be a video on that when I get there. Right, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and get notifications of my following videos. Next one, we're going to work on the headers, creating the gaskets, getting them all attached, and then soon after that we'll start doing the heat protection for the engine bay. We'll sort out the fuel system, get that ready for the first start, which shouldn't be too far away. So until then, have a great time. Thanks.